after the restful break. Today we'll be talking about the database management systems. So a database management system is typically a software that allows us to store data and use it for some logical functions. For example, Instagram has a database of all of its users where they have each person's username, password, email, and phone number stored up somewhere in the cloud. This is a very popular topic in WAEC, so I'm just going to walk you over the most typical question and workflow for the practical of this WAEC topic so that you can have an idea of what is required of you. Okay, so yeah, first of all, the application we'll be using to create a database is MS Access. So I'm just going to type here Access, and you see that there's an app called MS Access. I'm just going to click on it. Access. All right, and now we have what we call the workspace. So basically, when I'm working on this app, all of the areas where I can click and have functions for this application is called the workspace. I'm just going to create my first database now by clicking on create database, blank database. And voila, we've already made our first database. Okay, so in our database, I should mention that there are going to be several tables of data, uh, and each table is ideally meant to hold related pieces of data. For example, on one table, I could have a list of football players, and on a separate table, I could have the list of all football clubs. That will help us keep our data uh, more logically sensible, since we'll be looking to work on these pieces of data later for some official purposes, if you may like. Okay, so on this table, which I'm just using as an example, I'll be storing data about students. So, but before I go on to do that, I would like to mention that when we store data, we should be aware of what data type the data we're storing is. So, for example, in our previous classes, we went over numeric data, which is data that's just made up of numbers. We also have alphabetic data, which is made up of just texts. And then we have alphanumeric data, something that we have here, Access 2007. Because it has alphabetic data as well as numeric data, this is called alphanumeric data. So in order to store data about our students, we'll go on to create several columns containing the data we want. So in the first column here, uh, and columns are all of the spaces that run from top to bottom, just like a pillar, and rows run from left to right, just like someone was rowing a boat, or horizontally. Okay, so on this first column, I'm just going to select short text because I'm going to be looking to type a student's name here, and names are usually alphabetic data. So if you check among all of these other items here, you'll see that there's no other alphabetic data. So I'll just select short text and I'll write name. Now for the next column, I'll be looking to save their ages. So when I click on click to add, it will come up with this box, and it's great that I'm doing it now. Sometimes you may come across these sorts of errors during your WAEC practical. Please do not be scared, just read what it's saying. And in this case, it's just telling me that there's a word that is reserved uh, called name, but then this is an error I shouldn't be worried about this time. I'm just going to click OK, and I'm going to go to the next column. And because I'm going to be saving ages here, the most appropriate data type to select here will be number, because somebody's age is not an attachment, like it's not a song or a video. So because of somebody's age, I want to save here. I'm just going to select number. I'm going to say age. Now I want to select, I want to save their class. So something like SS1 or SS2 is fair. And in that case, the best data type to select from this list will be short text. Finally, I would like to save their dates of birth on my database. So here I'll just go on to select date and time, and then I'll type DOB. Okay, DOB, date of birth. Okay, so I'll just go on to prefill data, Nally 17. Looks like I did not name this field properly. So now in order to fix this problem, if you ever come across a column that wasn't named properly, what you need to do is you need to right click, you need to go to rename field and then rename it. So you right click on the top here, click on rename, and then you type the name now, and mine was class. And in class, I'm just going to say SS4. On date of birth, I'm just going to select this calendar here and just select a random date. I'm just going to continue to do that for as many students as I may like. Silly SS1. Okay, this is about age. So you notice because I had mentioned the data type and said it was a number, when I typed Sule, an error came up. So that's totally fine. Okay, so next I'm going to select next. SS1, date of birth, I'll just select a random number. Okay, we're going to do this again. I'm going to type the age 10, and this one is in JS3. Okay, and then I'll just select a random date. So assuming you're done with this, in the WAEC question, they usually will give you a table you're meant to remake, and they will just be looking to see if you selected all of the right data types and you had typed correctly in all of these fields. So a field is like where a column and a row meet. So this field has 18 and this field has SS1. So yes, they will just check to see all of your fields and to see that your fields are correct. And then the next step will be for you to generate a report. So you may have maybe 1A, 1B, 1C saying you should do all of this. And D will then say you should generate a report. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Once you've keyed in all of your data into the database, uh, in order to create a report, you need to go to create, the create tab here. Okay, and then you just go under reports here and you wouldn't select reports. Please take note, do not select report. This will cause a lot of problems. Just go to report wizard here and it will ask you, do you want to save this table? And we'll just say yes. And if you recall, this was a table for students data. So I'm just going to name this students. Now click OK. Then it's going to ask me, which of these fields would you want in your report? Usually the why question may say that you should report only the students' names and classes. In that case, I'll select name, click this right arrow, select class, and click this right arrow, and that means that these are the selected fields. Now you can go on to create a report that has all of the fields, but a why question, like I said, will typically ask you for some specific fields. And if in that case, or in this example, the fields they had requested for were name and class, I'll just do it like this. And if I make a mistake, I'll just click this one to take it back and then select the right one and just click on next. And basically just continue clicking on next. In this case, if they said it was in a descending order, then you have to select maybe name should be in an ascending order or name should be in a descending order. If you toggle these, you'll quickly have that sorted out. And then just go on to click next. Do you want in the tabular form? Yes. Portrait? Yes. Click next. Do you want a preview? Yes. And And this is how the table that has been reported will show up. It will just have just the fields you selected, name and class, and it will exclude age and date of birth and have it like this. Once you have this, you're good to go. Just go on to print and select the printer available for that day for WAEC, and your work will be printed and submitted for you. If you have any questions about this, please kindly watch the video again. Cheers and have a great one.